Streaming live now on News8000.com. You're watching WKBT La Crosse. This is News 8 Now at noon.
Good afternoon. It is Monday, June 19th. Thank you for watching News 8 Now. I'm Sophia Pullman. Let's get to some news today. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken says the United States has no illusions about the challenges of managing its relationship with China. The comments follow Blinken's high-stakes meeting with China's president earlier today. Natalie Brand reports from the White House.
Secretary of State Antony Blinken spent 30 minutes face-to-face with China's President Xi Jinping.
The United States and China have an obligation to responsibly manage our relationship.
High-stakes visit set up to cool tensions between the two countries.
Progress is hard. It takes time, and it's not the product of one visit, one trip, one conversation. My hope and expectation is we will have better communications, better engagement going forward.
While Secretary Blinken said they both agree on the need to stabilize the relationship, China did not agree to move forward with reestablishing military-to-military communications.
I think that's an issue that we have to keep working on. It is very important that we restore those channels.
The two sides agreed to continue to talk, but differences remain on key issues from trade to Taiwan.
China's top diplomat says his country has no room to compromise or concede on Taiwan, emphasizing China opposes the democratic island's independence.
China's sending a message, hey, we're in charge now. You're finished, to the West and to the United States. And I think it's indicative of what they hope to achieve.
Secretary Blinken says he expects his trip to Beijing to lead to additional diplomatic visits over the coming weeks. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, the White House.
Blinken also emphasized areas of possible cooperation between the two nations in areas of mutual interest, including climate and public health. Let's send it over to Derek to get our Monday forecast.
All right, thanks for that, Sophia. We were tracking some scattered showers here moving through portions of the area early this morning, but they have since cleared out, and now we're off to a beautiful start to the afternoon. So let's get a 12-hour loop here on some of the rain showers that move through. You can see mainly to our north and central, and also up towards the Chippewa Valley area where we saw the majority of some of those leftover showers move through early this morning. And around 10 o'clock or so, all of them really came to a close as they continued to move towards the north. Current temperature readings are mainly into the 80s. We got 83 in La Crosse, 78 in Eau Claire, 81 in Winona, 81 Black River Falls, and 86 down in Bosqueba, one of the warmer spots that I can find there on the map. And Prairie du Chien is currently at 82. So as we get a check on your afternoon forecast, we're looking at mainly sunny skies to deal with very warm temperatures. As highs will climb up into those mid to upper 80s, and also a light southerly breeze to go along with that as well. One of the factors to why our temperatures will be so warm is thanks to that southerly wind breeze at around 5 to 10 miles an hour, pumping in some of that warmer air for us to deal with here today. Now, we will be getting warmer here throughout later this week. I'll talk about exactly how warm and how long this dry and sunny pattern here will last us as well. Coming up next in the full weather forecast in a few minutes. Sophia?
Thanks, Derek. This afternoon, Tomah police officers responded to a report of someone who had been shot at the city's Super 8 hotel. Police arrived at the scene at about 12:45, where they found one adult male had been shot with a firearm. That man was later transported to Tomah Health. Police then responded to a report of a person bleeding profusely at an apartment complex located on 1028 Berry Avenue just 15 minutes later. Officers located an adult male who had sustained head injuries and was semi-conscious. He was later taken to He was later taken to Tomah Health and then flown to Gunderson Hospital in a La Crosse helicopter. Tomah police are conducting a full investigation to both incidents. La Crosse police have confirmed that one person is in custody following a drive-by shooting in downtown La Crosse early Saturday morning. Police say DeAndrew Grant was arrested on 6 counts of first-degree attempted reckless homicide and 1 count of jail jumping. Police say 6 were injured, multiple victims were treated at the scene, and some were taken to local hospitals. Police say none of those injuries appeared to be life-threatening. One person is confirmed dead after an officer-involved incident in Genoa. According to a release by the Wisconsin DOJ, Vernon County Sheriff's deputies were headed to a home for a welfare check. When officers arrived, the suspect was leaving. The officers conducted a traffic stop near the out-of-service Genoa Station 3 power plant. According to the release, the suspect then turned the car on and attempted to drive away while an officer was still hanging onto the side. It was then that an officer fired their gun. The suspect was pronounced dead on scene. The DOJ confirmed that deputies were wearing body cameras and no officers were injured. The officer who fired their gun is now on administrative assignment. The incident is still under review. There was plenty to celebrate in La Crosse at its annual Juneteenth celebration. People gathered in Riverside Park to celebrate. News 8 Now's Jeremy Wall explains why that gathering matters.
Juneteenth has been a federal holiday since 2021.
It acknowledges the history, but also shows the liberation movement, and it also brings the community together to have, fun, healthy conversations.
That same year, La Crosse started hosting its event.
I'm originally from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and we do a celebration in Juneteenth often. And so because of that, I was always learning about the history of Juneteenth and the importance of being able to bring the community together.
Juneteenth commemorates the end of slavery in America. Since then, Black Americans fought for equality for decades. In 2020, activists pushed to make Juneteenth a federal holiday. Now that it is one, it's a platform for education.
Keeps in the forefront of our minds the hardships that many people have had to overcome.
Many came to Riverside for the food and entertainment. Angelina Mayu comes from Tomah.
We don't have things like this around here, so any chance we have these cultural events, I want my children to partake and be a part of it.
She brought her kids to teach them what matters.
I want them to be aware of who they are, where they come from, and the essence and how important it is to make a difference and participate in our community.
Cross, Jeremy Wall, News 8 Now.
The Juneteenth celebration will also host a ball later this summer on August 6th. One area community is celebrating its heritage with a twist. Irish Fest La Crosse hosted its annual Irish Road Bowling Tournament. The sport was invented in Ireland in the late 1600s. Teams would throw a lead ball down a course of country roads. 18 two-person teams came together outside of Bangor to take part in the unique sport.
The theory is that the Irish actually stole cannonballs from the British Army, and they didn't want to carry them back to their camp, so they just rolled them down the road instead. And so it's kind of like golf, where we team up and the lowest score wins.
The annual Road Bowling Tournament kicked off the Irish Fest season, but it's not quite here yet. This year, the 19th annual Irish Fest will be held on the second weekend of August in La Crosse. Coming up, the newest speedster who quickly rose to the top of last week's box office. Your Consumer News is after the break. U.S. stocks took a nosedive to close out the week Friday. The Dow sank 108 points, the Nasdaq fell 93 points, and the S&P 500 dropped 16 points. CBS News' Matt Piper has the latest business news headlines from New York.
Today, President Biden heads to Palo Alto, California to tour coastal wetlands and tout his administration's investments in climate commitments. This week, the Biden administration is launching a $575 million climate resistance regional challenge aimed at helping communities become better able to withstand extreme weather and other impacts of climate change. Members of the Teamsters Union, which represents about 340,000 workers at UPS, voted overwhelmingly on Friday to strike if no agreement is reached with the package delivery company by the time the current contract expires on July 31st. The union is seeking higher pay, the elimination of so-called two-tier wages where newer workers are paid less than older employees for the same job, the removal of surveillance cameras from delivery trucks, and more full-time jobs. If the strike occurs, it could be the biggest labor walkout in the U.S. since the 1950s. And Warner Brothers' The Flash topped the box office this Father's Day weekend, earning $55 million domestically. It was followed by Disney's latest Pixar film, Elemental, which grossed close to $30 million domestically. Overall, it was a disappointing weekend, with ticket sales for both films falling short of studio expectations. That's your CBS News Money Watch report. For more, log on to cbsmoneywatch.com. At the CBS Broadcast Center, I'm Matt Piper.
That's it for your afternoon consumer news. As we head to break, here is a live look at City Cam 8 in La Crosse. Stay with us. Your medical news is next. In your medical news this afternoon, do heavy drinkers...
A new study suggests obesity can negatively affect a worker's productivity. Researchers from Eli Lilly and Company looked at more than 700,000 employees and found costs associated with absenteeism, short and long-term disability, and workers' compensation were higher annually for people with obesity compared to those with healthier weight. They recommend employers focus on interventions that help improve the well-being of those workers. People with alcoholism may claim to have a higher tolerance, but researchers say the reality is more nuanced than that. A study from the University of Chicago found people with alcohol use disorder, or AUD, displayed less impairment on fine motor and cognitive tasks than light or social drinkers after consuming the standard intoxicating amount. But when they drank the equivalent of their usual drinking habits, their impairment more than doubled and didn't return to baseline as many as 3 hours after drinking. And a new poll finds 1 in 6 parents say their child experiences stomach aches at least once a month. But 40% of those parents have not discussed the issue with a doctor. The Mott Children's Hospital national poll also found nearly 3/4 of parents think their child's belly pain is related to digestion or food. But over a quarter of parents attributed it to anxiety, trying to avoid school, or fishing for attention. That's a look at some of the day's top health stories. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
That's it for our medical news today. Here's a look at City Cam 8. Derek is in next with our forecast.
Well, it's a beautiful start to the afternoon, as you can see behind me from City Cam 8 in downtown La Crosse. We did have some rain move through portions of the area late last night and also into early this morning. That has since cleared out, and the rest of us still looking pretty dry here. 83 degrees with lots of sun. South winds at 7 miles an hour, visibility at 10 miles. Meanwhile, those current conditions to the north in Eau Claire, 78 degrees, a few clouds, a little cooler there. South-southeast winds light at around 8 miles an hour. And our current temperatures across the area here, as you can see on the map, are mainly into the 80s, with the only exception of Eau Claire and Ladysmith, a little cooler than the rest of us here across the area. Meanwhile, their temperatures really just into the 80s, and our forecast highs are expected to continue to warm up into those mid to upper 80s today. I'm expecting Eau Claire to hit 85 and La Crosse hitting a high of about 88 degrees this afternoon before it's all said and done. A few clouds around 1 o'clock, 84 degrees, 86, and mostly sunny at 3. And lots of sun, 88 degrees at 5 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 85, and still dealing with those clear skies. Here's a loop here from the last 12 hours. You can see some of those showers and storms that moved through late last night and also into early this morning. But around the 10 o'clock hour or so, those showers and storms have finally cleared the area. Now we're just looking mainly dry as high pressure is taking over, and that is creating a nice dry environment for us to work with here for us today. And this pattern does continue as we head into tonight as well. Heading into tomorrow morning, skies will continue to remain clear. An overall pretty dry pattern, which will last into tomorrow afternoon as well, expecting more of the same. And this will take us into tomorrow night here too. Still looking at mainly dry and quiet conditions, all thanks to this upper level ridge of high pressure that continues to build across the central United States and extending as far north as Canada, as a matter of fact. And this system is going to be impacting our weather here over the next few days, giving us mainly dry and hot weather conditions here for us to work with. Now, as we take you into midweek on Wednesday, we're still dealing with this ridging here of high pressure that will create mainly dry and quiet conditions for us to work with. And really, it does look like it will extend here through at least the rest of the week, maybe a little bit weaker, but still enough to create some pretty hot and dry conditions here for at least these next several days. Now, as we head into this weekend and also into early next week, there could be some changes, more so into Saturday night and Sunday. There could be a good chance of showers and thunderstorms heading our way as that high pressure system that we talked about will weaken here over time. That could give way to some more moisture heading into our area to help increase the rain chances. So that's something that I am watching for over the next several days, but we got a ways to go yet until we hit there, because really, you know, from here on out until at least Saturday, we're talking about mix of sun and clouds, high temperatures in the low 90s and lows in the 60s, and just overall, unfortunately, dry. And I say that because we do need the rain.
Thanks, Derek.
Yeah.
Coming up after the break, the late music star whose original demo tape is now up for sale. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
The news continues on News 8 Now. Expect more.
A piece of music history is going up for sale. The self-titled demo tape that late musician Prince used to land his first recording contract is up for auction. Boston-based auction house RR Auction is selling the demo, which was recorded in 1976. It contains unreleased versions of the songs Just As Long As We're Together and My Love Is Forever, as well as the never-released Jelly Jam. Prince was just 18 years old when he recorded the tracks, all written, sung, and arranged by him. Prince passed away back in 2016. His estate is not associated with the auction. Stay with us. We'll have one more check of your forecast when we return.
Last check on your 8-day forecast. Before we go, we're looking at highs into the upper 80s to low 90s throughout this week under a mix of sun and clouds. Next best chance of showers and storms looks to be on Sunday. And then once again, as we head into Monday of next week, lows mainly in the 60s.
Hot.
Hey, pretty much that's the bottom line.
Like I hope you have a good working AC.
Exactly.
You're going to need it. Yeah. Thanks, Derek. And thank you for watching News 8 Now. You can catch us again at 5 and 6. Have a great afternoon, everyone. Thanks for watching News 8.